Not all, but in a lot of households, the mother and the father was there. In my neighborhood anyway, but when the crack epidemic hit, whoo.
Black Walt Street on 55th Street. Black Walt Street.
Yeah, we on Boss Talk 101. Yeah, we gonna talk.
Man, we got a guy in here don't need no introduction, man. Listen, man, when it come down to value, street code, just a real dope dude, man, about to educate us on the history down here in Kansas City, Missouri. Black Walt is in the building.
Black Walt, but he was known as Weak Capone. I supplied the beef for home.
What's up, OG?
Did you hear how I put it? See, I got an intro thing I do, man, and I think I did pretty good.
You did great. I'm gonna tell you where you did great. You said Kansas City, Missouri.
You know what, y'all been on my head about that ever since I got down here. You know what I'm saying? My guy, everybody that I talk to, man, y'all right across the bridge, man. What is the problem?
It's just a history thing, man. And we don't have no problem with Kansas. I used to live in Kansas, period.
Okay.
But when you come to Kansas City, Missouri, you make sure you make the distinction between Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas.
Man.
Is it only y'all have that problem when we go over there? Do they say the same thing?
I really don't know.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, maybe
Yeah, I
y'all
really
are the
don't
only
know.
ones who have the problem.
Yeah, I don't know if Kansas feel the same way.
Right.
But I know in Missouri, because I'm born and raised.
And very
in Missouri,
proud.
And very proud.
Very proud.
Yeah, just make the distinction. But, I got all love for Kansas City, Kansas. Them my guys over there.
Already, let's talk about it.
Okay, so you're born and raised here in Kansas City, Missouri. What part?
55th Street.
Gangsta was the tone, cause he from 50-50 Michigan. With a nifty with the fistigans.
That's what I thought, 55th
Yeah.
Street.
Born and raised.
What was it like? Because we got a tour from Big Court yesterday around those areas.
My guy.
So we was on 40.
We was on 43rd.
Yeah, we was on 43rd.
Yeah, that's where
bit.
he's from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was 55th like compared to, since we've seen 43rd, what was the difference?
55th Street growing up, I'm going to give you a real interesting background. When we moved to 55th, which was in the early 70s, it was a white neighborhood.
Oh.
It was predominantly white. It was white families, middle-class families that lived in the 50s when I was young, growing up.
Wow.
And that changed, the demographic changed where black families started moving in. I would say around 80,
Okay.
81, somewhere around that area. Then more and more black families start moving in. And you could tell that it was strategic how they was doing it. But the more black families that was moving in, the white families started leaving out.
Wow.
And so then probably around 84, 85, when the crack epidemic hit,
Yeah.
oh, they really got the hell up out of there.
They had to go.
They had to go.
And if they didn't, they
Yeah.
became victim
They
of
became
society.
victims. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's real.
But
That's real.
in the beginning, okay, down here, because I know how Texas is, but I don't know how Kansas City, Missouri is. So in the 70s, when you moved in there and it was predominantly white, did you suffer or did your family suffer any sort of racism?
Somewhat, yeah. From the older white families that lived there. We had a lady by the name of Miss Varney, and she was Jim Crow white.
Wow.
Yeah, she definitely was. You niggers better stay out my yard, stay out my grass. And we also had an older lady by the name of Miss Rowley. And you see, I remember these names.
Yes.
Because, their history is etched in my mind.
Because of
Wow.
what you saw.
Yeah, because
you
of what I
experienced.
witnessed and what I experienced. But for some reason, they just love Black Walt.
No.
Really?
Give me an
For
instance.
some reason.
And you don't know why?
I don't know why. And they used to call me up, come here, Sonny Boy. They call me Sonny Boy. Come here, Sonny Boy. And they would give me money
Yeah.
and ask me to go to the store for them. And I would go to the store, I don't know if their mentality was, he's a slave mentality. I don't know if their mentality was that or not, as to I'm going to have this young black boy run to the store for me or whatever this and that. I don't know. But for me at the time, it was love and it was endearing.
Let me ask you this: what was one of the most, say, racist moments that you can remember where it was a thing? I interviewed OG Pyru out of Compton, and he talks about some white kids riding by throwing some rotten eggs on him and stuff because he walked up to the car. This was in the 50s,
Right.
But for you, it wouldn't have been, I don't think that, because they was just riding around, with the hair like the Elvis Presleys and acting. It was a different time, and they just came over into where the blacks was at.
Right.
For you,
to cause trouble.
Correct. For you was living in it. What was something that you remember that sticks out?
It really wasn't anything specific because I was so young, but I just remember the name calling more.
The name calling. The police how were they during those times?
Oh man, you didn't have a chance if you was black.
Yeah.
Whatever that white person said, that's what happened, and that's what it still goes on like that to this
Today.
day.
Yeah, that ain't changed much.
That ain't changed at all.
Yeah. I want to get into his background though, as far as.
So on the 55th, were you living in the household with your mom and your dad?
I was living in the household with my mom, my dad, my 3 older brothers, and my sister.
That's hard.
I'm the baby.
Did you realize, probably not then, but now, how special and different that was? Because most families here in the United States are subject to mom taking care of the kids and daddy going about his business.
Well, back then, in our neighborhood, it was normal.
Really?
It was normal to have a father and a mother. We was in a middle-class neighborhood.
Yeah.
In the 70s. It's the 70s. And I know a lot of kids today haven't experienced
They don't have that.
Right.
And you know what? In the 70s, I was with my mom and dad.
That's right.
Because they was 10. I was 10 when they divorced.
Broke up.
So it was right above edge of the 80s when they divorced. So I'm just saying I could understand it because I would sit around and watch Sesame Street and all this when I was 5, 6. This was what we had to entertain ourselves. Just a couple of channels on TV. It wasn't like today.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, we had them and we held them dear. You know what I mean? But it was not the same thing. And kids pretty much went outside to play.
So what do you feel
know
like?
I mean?
What do y'all feel like caused this location of families where back in the 70s you had more mom and dads in the household, but then I hear people say crack is the reason why.
Not crack.
What is the reason why? You have single parent households now
for
more than anything?
For me, I think it was welfare. For me, because I remember when I was little, once they broke up, they wasn't gonna get back together if they started getting food stamps and they started getting that monthly assistance and that Medicaid or whatever, because we would have to be accounted for, and the woman couldn't have a man in the house
if she's getting welfare.
Right. You understand? And that was happening everywhere because I wasn't the only one being counted. Every kid was being counted and saying, okay, who's staying in that house? Can't be no man in that house. We gonna give you a break on this, a break on that, but are you by yourself? Better not be no man that we're going to cut these food stamps off.
But that was for lower income families. That wasn't for middle classes.
So but you hit it right on the money.
That's it.
For my experience,
because we were poor.
My experience coming from a middle class neighborhood, and it was a lower middle class. It wasn't upper middle class. Think we had just money or anything,
right?
But it was definitely 100% the crack epidemic.
So
I watched it
when crack hit for y'all.
That's what split families
that
up.
Split everybody's family up.
I think it split it split more when crack hit, but that welfare was for us a thing for the poor, lower class.
For the lower class,
where if you left your man or if you wasn't get assistance, they were gonna get that check. Them little old brown envelopes were coming, man. Right. And them little food stamps, the green tin. I know the colors because I was a little embarrassed. But I'll go in there with one of them dollars and ask Bubba Lane to give me a snack cake, and I hand it to him. I hope nobody see me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I mean, you had families in our neighborhood that was getting assistance, of course, but for the most part, we just had hard-working families that were mother and father. We had Ford, General Motors, we had all these plants, Hallmark cards, Wonder Bread. So black families had decent jobs back then.
Yeah.
So the mother and the fathers were in the households.
Wow.
But not all, but in a lot of households, the mother and the father was there. In my neighborhood anyway, but when the crack epidemic hit, whoo.
Black Wall Street on 55th Street. Black Wall Street.
Yeah, we on Boss Talk 101. Yeah, we gonna talk.